नित्यानन्देश्वरसमारम्भां नित्यानन्देश्वरिमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. I welcome you all with my love and respects. I welcome all the Sarvangapeta Yajamans, Nitya Satsangis, Sri Mahants, Mahants, Kotaris, Tanidars, devotees, disciples, visitors, viewers, YouTube subscribers, everyone sitting with us all over the world through Nithyananda TV, Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and two-way video conferencing. Before entering into today's satsang, I want to tell this important thing. I very sincerely recommend, strongly request all the Sadashivoham participants to come for Shakti Nipada every day morning. Satsang is the best Shakti Nipada. Satsang is the best Shakti Nipada. The best Shakti Nipada happening for you is the morning satsang. So please come for every day Shakti Nipada during the morning satsang. Again, here we are with you today to demonstrate next power, entering into depth, not yet fully, but started initiation. Understand? Depth means working on cognition, means your cognition should be able to move the world. Your oneness cognition should be so powerful. Physically you are able to move anything. So yesterday again the new species got initiated into the depth dimension. So the manifestation is going on very successfully without even touching. They are able to move and crack coconuts. They are able to move and crack coconuts. Today they will be performing cracking and sealing it back again the same way it was original. See, actually these powers have direct utility. With these powers they can perform open heart surgery non-invasive. Without touching a person, they can finish open heart surgeries. They can, of course, whatever I am claiming, I will prove. Anything I claimed, I always proved much more than what I claimed. And it is possible to do non-invasive surgeries and remove tumors and non-invasive heart surgeries. All this is possible, removing the fat settlement on the tubes, blood circulation, arteries, all that is possible. It's actually training for all that. My sannyasis are going through the training. The new species are going through the training. We usually don't test on animals because we are cruelty-free organization. Hinduism itself is cruelty-free religion. Actually, this cracking the coconut and healing it back, all this is a training done on vegetables. It is a vegetable testing, vegetarian testing, like how the animal testing is done on for medicines, surgical procedures, methods, how they do animal testing. Like that we are doing vegetable testing, coconut testing is going on. So maybe within next few days I'll present Balasans cracking coconuts and healing it within 7 minutes. Within 7 minutes they will crack and heal. The cracks will disappear. They will show you. Yesterday itself, 14 Balasans have cracked their coconut without even touching it. Not one crack, multiple cracks. Mahagita made 14 cracks. So, give us few more days to come and do the demo of all the powers of Sadashiva. Today they will do the preliminary demo, moving the coconut. Not one, multiple, many are ready for demo. And then yesterday, Nithyananda participants who worked with their Balasans, new species, can also come and share your experience, how they cracked. And yesterday we were actually working on the breath. Today we will have to continue to work on breath because still we have not mastered breath. A lot of work need to be done on the breath and manifesting the breath dimension. Then we will move to the depth dimension. My body is in such high state of samadhi, manifesting Sadashivatva. I'm going to spend a little more time on manifesting these powers. That is why I'm taking little time to come on Kalpatar Yatra. Please understand, if I list my priorities, surely making new species, manifesting powers will be the first and topmost priority. But surely I am going to come for Kalpatar Yatra also. It's not that I am cancelling. I am going to come. Kashi Rameshwaram Yatra will be done without any doubt. So, just making the next level initiations. Actually, the plans I have, before Shivratri, at least 100 Balasans will be able to do materialization and teleportation very comfortably, continuously. So, length, breadth, depth, dimensions and initiations into those dimensions is happening. Concentrating on that more. Concentrating on that work in full speed. Come on. Let me invite Swarubhapriya to come and start sharing.
Thank you so much, Swamiji. Actually, every day we're planning what we're going to share about the happenings here, the new species and the powers Swamiji is initiating them to manifest. And every day it seems like whatever we plan to share becomes redundant by the next session because the powers are manifesting so quickly, so rapidly, so many new Initiations are happening. It's hard to even keep up with that. Yesterday, what we experienced in the courtyard was something once again mind-blowing. And I was chatting with some of the Nithyananda Yogam participants, and we all agreed that every single day when we wake up here, we expect to have our minds blown. We expect to be amazed. And it's kind of funny because usually amazement comes spontaneously. You can only be amazed if you're not expecting something amazing to happen. I think it's only around Sadashiva in form, where something amazing is the norm, it's expected. Yesterday, while sitting in the courtyard watching the new species manifest these Shaktis, I couldn't help but notice Sadashiva himself in form, sitting with a beautiful murti of Nataraja behind him. And suddenly I realized how blessed we are. We take it for granted sometimes, because every day Swamiji is showering us with so many blessings. We sometimes take it a little bit too casually, what's happening here. But Nataraja, he's the form of Sadashiva, who is dancing the Tandava. Everything that exists is happening because of his dance, and here we have him in form with us, dancing that Tandava, expressing through so many bodies. I was wondering, has anything like this ever happened before? And I suddenly remembered what many of us I think have heard. I think probably all Hindus have heard the history of the Nataraja temple in Chidambaram, where Agastya Muni actually developed, or I guess manifested the power to read the Akashic records, and then initiated some of his disciples to do the same. To this day, we have the solid proof that this historical happening happened in the form of the Nadi leaf readings. When Agastya Muni developed this capacity, when he was in Shakti Nipada, or the entanglement state, to give it a cheap English translation, with Sadashiva, he was also able to raise his disciples to that same frequency so that they could also read the Akashic records. History considers this to be one of the great happenings of Sanatana Hindu Dharma, and no doubt it was. Another historical happening in that same temple in Chidambaram was that Patanjali, known by so many as the father of yoga, sat and through 1,000 heads revealed the wisdom of the cosmos to 1,000 disciples. We hear that he was sitting in a place where he was veiled because his energy was so intense. His oneness with Sadashiva was radiating at such a high frequency that if anyone even looked at him, they would be burnt. We're told that one of the disciples among those 1,000 became curious to see, is this really happening, or is he saying something the same to each of us? Is he saying something different? Are there really 1,000 heads expressing? So the curtain was drawn open. He had to see for himself. And 999 of those disciples who were transcribing that wisdom were burnt. The only surviving text we have from that great happening are the Patanjali Yoga Sutras. And the story has kind of a funny twist. The reason we have the Yoga Sutras is that the one disciple of Patanjali's who was transcribing this wisdom had gone for what in our Sangha we know as a 1-2-3 break. He had gone to relieve himself. And so he wasn't there among the others when the burning happened. What's really amazing to me is that a lot of people will think of these historical happenings that are recorded in the Puranas as mythology. The same way we consider practice to be a 4-letter word here, because Swamiji makes everything just manifest instantly. I also believe the word mythology should be considered like a 4-letter word. Actually, myth is a 4-letter word, isn't it? We know that these happenings are real because we are experiencing them every single day now. Of course, the one most amazing difference between what we're experiencing in Sadashiva's courtyard and the historical happenings in Chidambaram temple are that there in Chidambaram, through one form, through one enlightened incarnation, the Akashic reading was revealed and transmitted. through another incarnation. The ability to transfer the length and the breadth dimension, to just channel that knowledge through the state of Shaktinipada, or what English people would maybe roughly equate as entanglement, happened. But through this form of Sadashiva, both are happening, and we know this is just the beginning. Not only are Balasants, who are now, I guess we can't even say Balasant anymore, the new species, able to just instantly know any fact, solve any mathematical equation, understand anything to do with the length dimension. They're also now very beautifully, very powerfully manifesting the Shakti to tune into any artistic creation, any creative happening that has ever taken place. And yesterday, many of us witnessed many of them just instantly start drawing a painting they've never heard of before, perfectly, or describing the details of architecture they've never seen before, perfectly. Like walking, talking GPS, they were able to give the exact routes, naming the streets, naming the landmarks, from one place to another place in countries they've never personally visited or even studied. What's happening is so far beyond the realm of anything we would have imagined before. I really can't imagine what's going to happen next. But even more amazingly, as we were witnessing this beautiful happening of the Balasants manifesting this Shakti, Swamiji gave them yet another initiation. As Swamiji described so beautifully, when they're in such a high state of oneness, we're able to make anything move, even the world itself. And this is already starting. It's not just that they've been initiated and eventually they're going to be able to make coconuts move. They are already doing it. And yesterday, we witnessed so many members of the new species just making the coconut lift off people's hands, roll from side to side, even crack, that we can't have a proper sharing today on stage unless we show this happening. So before I invite the participants of Nithyananda Yogam to share their experiences, I would like to invite some of the Balasants, some of the members of the new species, to come to the stage with your coconuts. And as the sharings are going on, you can actually see them sitting in a state of Shaktinipada, connected with Sadashiva himself, just through their will, just through their extreme feeling of oneness with all. They'll make these coconuts move. So, Balasants, if you can please come to the stage and have your coconuts with you. I think it's so new and so exciting that even now, just to stand on the stage, they're being filled with so much overwhelming excitement and enthusiasm. So you can see that they're each holding a coconut, and I can attest to the fact that these are all intact and whole. I was looking at them, feeling them backstage. There's nothing unusual about these coconuts. It's not like we've done anything to them. But you'll see just through the power of their deep connection with Swamiji, they will be making these coconuts move. So the first participant from the Nithyananda Yogam program to share his experiences today is Hohepa, and the Balasant he'll be with is Shri Nithyananda Maharaj.
Nithyananda Swamiji. Nithyananda everyone. My name is Hohepa. I'm a business owner in Australia, and this is Sri Nithyananda. So yesterday we were in the courtyard, and Swamiji initiated us really early in the morning into the new power of breath. And during the day we were just all sitting around in the courtyard for the new species, the Balasants, all of us, and just playing with this new power, asking them whatever question we wanted to. And one by one people started standing up, and people were clapping and cheering, and then I stood up and I had a look, and I was like, what is everyone looking at? And then over in the corner there was a couple of adolescents, and they were holding coconuts in their hands. I was like, okay, what are they doing? And then just watching them, I could see they were moving they were playing with the coconut. As you can see, that's exactly what we were seeing. So, we were all excited. We were like, oh God, what's happening? This is like a huge breakthrough, And so Swamiji goes, okay, now all the adolescents, you can all start manifesting power. Oh my God, they all started cheering, and in the next couple minutes, half an hour, it was just like so casual. So casually, everyone was just playing with this new power. Where in the world can you go where you're manifesting these powers and, it's just like, okay, another power's coming up. Okay, that's fine. Only in Swamiji's house can you be expressing so much powers and be so casual about it. Nowhere can you do that. Nowhere on earth can you experience such a place like this place.
Please see, they are not doing anything. You can see very clearly, they are not doing anything. And I'll also bring them and do the demo. By tomorrow, day after tomorrow, they will keep it on the ground and move. See, one is holding, another one is moving. When you do the demo, you have to be very clear. People are skeptics, not spectators, spectators. They are not spectators, they are spectators. So you should be always fulfilling their anyakara. So this is like an initial play of the power of that oneness. I should say that cracking and healing, that will be the real demo. I am bringing them for that maybe by tomorrow. Yesterday itself they have done it. I am just helping them to manifest more strongly. So they will be demo ready within 7 minutes, they will be able to do it.
So Jnanamaya is just like all these balasans you see in front of you. He's able to move it up and down, off to the side, and even he cracked it in my hand. I saw all this, and it was amazing. And so later on in the night, while all the balasans had gone off to dinner, Swamiji had went off to do whatever he was doing, and all the Nithyananda yoga participants were just in the courtyard, we were either having food or talking, and then I just go down and I sit with somebody, and then we're just like, okay, now let's have a try. Okay, so I tried it, and I was so surprised. I just easily moved the coconut, just like how these kids are doing it. I was so surprised. With me manifesting powers, it's like such a thing. I'm like a coconut. I need to be cracked, and so I could make it go up and down, off everything. And then I tried to do it without even moving my hands, and I was so surprised I could do it. I just went straight up, straight down, and off. And that was amazing. So thanks, Swamiji.
So I just want to mention, while we're watching these demonstrations, if you've ever held a coconut, it's not very stable. It's not like you can easily balance it so that it's sitting without rolling around. Even if you try to put a coconut on a solid surface, it's going to roll a little bit. And I noticed that when the camera was zoomed in, it was showing Ma Yogamata holding the coconut for Ma Nandita. I want to say what I was observing was that Ma Nandita was moving it so intensely and so rapidly that if you saw Ma Yogamata's hand moving a little bit, she was restabilizing it so that it wouldn't fall. It's not like she was making it fall. So as someone who personally experienced this yesterday, holding one of the coconuts while the balasants were moving them, it's so natural. We have this instinct not to drop something. We'll be grabbing it. So despite the fact that a lot of us were trying to hold the coconut, they were even still knocking the coconuts out of our hands. And it didn't feel like just random movement. At one point, instead of moving the coconut upward, the balasant was hitting down on it energetically. His hand was about 1 foot away. But as he was going like this, it literally felt like there was a hammer hitting the coconut in the hand. So naturally, the hand was going up and down. Whatever Swamiji has initiated them into, it's just so huge that I really feel like if you're not here, you're missing out on something really, really monumental. It might be something just the first stage. Swamiji was telling us this is just the first level of this manifestation. But there's nobody else on planet Earth right now who can even come close to touching the first level of this initiation. So if you're feeling like you wish you were here, you were also a part of this, again and again, I have to say, don't miss the next inner awakening, because we don't know which more powers are going to manifest between now and then. It's something you definitely want to be a part of. So next, I'd like to invite Sri Nitya Dhritananda with a balasant, Sri Nitya Priyananda.
Nithyananda, my name is, as Swrupa Priyananda said, Sri Nitya Dhritananda, and this is Sri Nitya Priyananda. And in my past life, my name was Jordan Kremer, and I was a professional ice hockey player. And so naturally, when we started playing around yesterday, before the coconuts came out, Priyananda and I were sitting there working on some visualization abilities, and I asked him to draw an ice hockey rink. And being from India, he has no clue what the sport ice hockey is. And I was a little disappointed at that at first, but once he started to awaken or start utilizing the third eye and looking into his, the granite slab, he started to draw this image that started to look exactly like an ice hockey rink. And you can see that on the screen there. And eventually he started with a sketch, and then I asked him to start using some colors because we had some paints out, and I said, okay, so what are the colors out there, and what do you see? And he drew this one line across the middle, and he's like, it's red, right? And I'm like, absolutely it's red. And then I said, so what's the color of the circle in the middle? He goes, it's red. And then he even started to draw this. If you look at the screen there on the bottom right, there's this little black disc, and he's like, he started to draw the ice hockey puck, and I'm like, yes, that's the ice hockey puck. And unfortunately, it's a victim of some scribbles there. But what had happened actually was after we started to do the painting, we took a break. And I went back to the room, and I came back, and I came into the courtyard, and all of a sudden, just as I arrived, there was this big gathering that started to develop in the far corner. And what happened was there's a few of the balasants sitting there, and all of a sudden I see that they have coconuts in their hand, and all of a sudden these coconuts just start rising and rising and rising, and they're playing with it. And I'm like, with everybody else, it just went deathly like silent, and we were just staring in awe, and we're like everybody's looking at Swamiji and looking there, and Swamiji's just sitting there giggling and laughing, and so we're all just, it was a completely incredible experience to be a part of. And then sure enough, a few seconds later, Swamiji's, okay, like the rest of you can go manifest. And so me and Priya started playing around again, and at first he did not get it right away, but after a few minutes he started to get the hang of it, I guess. And what happens is like you feel this energy, like this movement. It's almost like a wave in the ocean at first, and I mean, I know it might look like your hand's moving up and down, but it's like if you have weights on your shoulder and then you drop it, like you adjust for it in a second, and all of a sudden he's after a few minutes, not even using his hands, and he's just like using his eyes and rolling it over. And even just before coming on stage, we have a coconut back there, and he's just kind of playing around with it and practicing. And it's completely incredible, to say the least. And so to be a part of this experience and to see this in action, and I mean, I was for sure one of those skeptics, like Swamiji said, and to experience it and to see it firsthand, I mean, that's completely dropped. And like Priyananda said, if you have any desire to come to Inner Awakening, or you don't have a desire, you need to come, because Swamiji just gave this power. We woke up and we were doing yoga at 5 a.m. and all of a sudden it's like, no, come to the courtyard. I'm actually going to give you guys a new power, and you're going to be able to manifest it and demo it in one day. So like, that's one day. I can only imagine what happens between now and the next IA. So definitely book your ticket and get on board and come to IA, and who knows how many powers we're going to have until then. So thank you very much.
Okay, Ma Balananda has something to share that she experienced with Ma Deepa. And Deepa is actually one of the Balasants now sitting on the stage doing a coconut demo.
Okay, so this has been a wild ride for me, because the types of things that we're seeing here is like a magical mystery school. And, you know, I feel like I'm in a mystical dream to see these superpowers emerging from the students in the Nithyananda Gurukul. And as a school principal, I really see the potential for the expression of these powers in children who are all gifted and talented. So imagine your child who maybe has been given an IQ test or has been through the rigors of being tortured by the academia of the Western world. And imagine that child who's insecure and lacks confidence and maybe has been kicked out of school or hasn't made the right grade, being in a totally new paradigm where they're expressing superpowers and they have the confidence of a master. So this is Deepa. She's my favorite Gurukul student. And the reason why she's my favorite is because she has length, breadth, and depth. She has the deepest caring for other people. She's always facilitating, helping people get food, taking charge, being a leader. And she's also very artistic and expresses herself and her individuality. And of course, she's a mathematical genius. So she has everything going for her. So yesterday, I asked her to draw a picture of a centaur. And she says, "What is a centaur?" And I said, "It's a mythological creature." And she said, "What is that?" And I said, "Oh, I can't give any more clues." So she started to draw, and hopefully we can match this to something. But if you can, of course, a centaur is a half man, half horse. So you can see, there it is, the half man, half horse. Now, just keep the camera on the page, because the second thing she was asked to draw was a Picasso picture. So in this Picasso picture, it's called Dr. Odd. And she immediately drew a grid with 4 different pictures in it. And I'm like, why did she draw a grid with 4 different pictures? And in fact, of course, you see displayed on the screen, the eyes are not on level with the actual Picasso drawing. But on the internet, we took a picture of this. There was a grid with many faces, different faces in it, and they all looked exactly like her picture. So you can see on the book, you can see that there are many faces and their eyes are not on level. They're on the side of the face, and they're large heads. And there was actually this one, you see she's wearing a headband, and the first picture has got the headband with the hair and the eye kind of off center. So she drew this. Now the third thing that she did, we asked her, and I'm going to put this book down, to describe the Darbar Hall. Am I pronouncing that? Darbar Hall in Mysore Palace. And she said, "Oh, I don't think I can draw all of this, but I can describe it, so you have to hear this." The floor is a smooth marble flooring. One part of it is covered with red carpet. The hall is huge. On the top, the ceiling has a deep cut with different designs. And she says the ceiling is white, so you can see up at the top where it's shining white. It has giant chandeliers, so you can see the giant chandeliers in the ceiling, and they're circular shaped, as you can see. White ceiling, also the wall is a beige color. There are pillars, pillar-like carvings along the wall. And you can see the pillars all along, up and down the hallway. And she drew a picture of the pillar. I'm going to try to do this again. There is a pillar down at the bottom. Can you point to it? Yeah, right there. So the pillar is exactly the same pillar that is in the Mysore Palace. And she says not only the height, but also the length is huge. So you see the depth of this palace. There's a stage-like structure in the front of the hall. So if you go all the way to the very end of the hall in the Mysore Palace, in fact, there is a stage-like structure. And that's evidently where the king of the palace would give his speeches. So I don't know if you can zoom in on that, but there's the stage at the very end of the hallway. So she says, and every few feet there are vases, there are plants that are in vases. Now we didn't see that, but what we're wondering is if we went to Mysore Palace today and we were to look behind those pillars, would we see vases with flowers? And we probably would. There's a plant behind those pillars. So Deepa, tell me a little bit, talk to the audience and tell me a little bit about what does it feel like to manifest these powers?
Nithyananda, see, usually all of us will be like, we have to study and all those, like doing whatever the teacher says and all that. But the life which we are living here is completely different. It's like we are the teachers and we do everything which we have to do in the whole world. Like the whole life itself is like a whole lot of things which we can do. Nobody even knew that other than like seeing in the movie like Harry Potter waving the wands and they do something. But here without any wands, just one initiation. Being in the space of Swamiji, everything happens. You can download maths, download chemistry, download physics. You just don't need to mug up anything. You just need to sit for the exam and that's it. You get all the answers correct. So that's how our life is here. Like, and which kid will not ask for this life? Like all of us are enjoying our life, and not only that, being in Swamiji's space, it's what more to ask for than to be in his space.
So everyone who has a child or is a child inside and would like to grow up and manifest the grown-up superpowers of the new species, come to Inner Awakening. Thank you.
I just want to quickly mention, I didn't tell anybody to say come to Inner Awakening. I get accused too often that I have some agenda to try to make everybody come. It's just when you've seen the best that existence has to offer, you naturally want to share that with everyone. And it's really making me thrilled to see how we all have that same cognition, that same understanding. So next I'd like to invite Chico to share. And the Bala Sant with whom Chico was blessed to work yesterday is Ma Yogamata.
Nithyananda, I want to share my experience from yesterday because I was sitting on the male section and I was doing my practice with the guys. And then all of a sudden I just turned around and then I was, let's say, facing the female section and she was there. And maybe it's a very nice thing to say, like it's now a year ago that I was once watching YouTube to my favorite music. It's a Mexican singer. And then all of a sudden I saw this little pop-up and that was this video about this girl with the superpowers. So I think, okay, pushed on it, and she came, and I think, oh man, wow, this is really something So she was actually my first connection to Swamiji. Of course, Swamiji sent her, but she was, so for me, it's like a year ago that I entered this community. So it was a very special, it's a special year, of course. So many things happened. Anyway, then I saw to her and I think, okay, I'm just going to turn around and I'm going to go quickly towards her instead of the male section. And then I asked her the question, could you maybe see a very famous church in Paris? It's the Notre Dame. And she says, okay. And she started and this, and I think, oh yes, this is true, and this is true, and this is true. Everything was right. But in the middle of the church, she made 2 towers. I don't know if the picture actually is available. But anyway, in the middle, she signed a very high peak. And I said, no, that's not there. And there's water along it. No, that's also not there, I thought. And I visited that church a lot of times. I thought I was a professional. Anyway. Then we kept going, and then I was on Google, and I turned around, and then I saw that at the west side of the church, there was the sand. That was the water, and I think, oh man. It's like, yes, you did it right. And the peak, which she saw actually in the middle, when you go behind the church, there is this high peak. But you cannot see it from the front. And then I was really like, the magic is there, of course. So I think, wow, you did it right. Ah, yes. And then one of a sudden I said, like, do you see something in the center of the church? There is a very special symbol, very famous. And she said in the beginning, yes. And there's a circle. And she started making that circle, and it is a very famous window there with all these, what is the name again? I forgot the name in English. I don't know, but all the colors in it. Stained glass, yes, that's the thing. And she drew it, and she started with a very little figure, and she started making more and more and more, and then she had the whole window, and she placed it in the middle. And I thought it was the flower of life. I'm not 100% sure about it, but it looked like this shape of this structure. So I think, wow, that's nice. And of course, what everybody says already, at nighttime we did all these things with the coconuts. I had them in my hand. I felt like it was a magnet. And I realized the first time in my life that I thought, it's not a movie, of course, but it's like you are in an environment and you think like, we don't know what's happening after maybe 20 years. Then this is all by huge history and people were writing about it, making movies about it, and we are part of it. And that's what I realized. So I said also to her yesterday, do you know that I'm kind of fan of you and that I really admire you to bring with you? And she just said very simple, oh yes, that's okay, it's okay. So very nice. Thank you very much. Thank you, Swamiji, and thank everybody to make this happen.
So Nithyananda. And next I'd like to introduce Jean, who was manifesting these Shaktis or enjoying the manifestation of these Shaktis through Sri Nitya Sundareshwarananda Maharaj.
I'm Jean-Marc. I'm coming from Switzerland. I got to know Swamiji in a very short time, since last September. And since that time, I'm having an amazing time. Yesterday, I've been the pleasure, and I was blessed to work with my friend Sudareshwara for manifesting powers. So together, we make a trip back to Switzerland. So the first question I was asking him is where I live. It's a little town, very pretty town, and it's dominated by 2 hills, and it's very special place. So I've been asking if he was able to see what was on these 2 special hills in the middle of my valley. So Sundareshwara was able to see 2 buildings, and I asked him what kind of building. One was a castle, an old castle which actually is in ruins. So he was able to draw the ruins and the different walls of this old castle. On the other hill, he was able to see a church. So it was really very interesting information, precise information. So we started to visit the church together. And I asked him if he was able to see inside this church, there is a special piece which is the oldest one in Europe, which is supposed to be the oldest one in Europe. So he was saying different things in the church, and he found this piece, he recognized a very old organ which was inside, and this is still possible to play with this organ, and it's a very old one. He was able to draw it very precisely. On the top of that, he was able to give the details, because as it is an old one, it was still made of wood, of wooden piece, and with some strings. Then, after this visit of the church, I was feeling homesick, so I asked him to drive me home. So we started the trip at the end of the highway, and he was able to show me the way to my home, which is about 3 or 4 kilometers. And each time there was a change of direction, he was able to mention the change of the direction and the right direction. Then I was amazed, because when I reached my home, in fact, I have to go left, and this is my place. But he took the right direction, and that was the direction where I park my car. Then there is a particularity in Switzerland. We are speaking 3 main national languages. So I drew the map of Switzerland, and he was able to describe the border between the different languages, space languages in Switzerland. But what was amazing is he told me that there was a part in Switzerland where they don't speak German or French or Italian, but they speak a mixture of German and Italian. And this is the 4th national languages of Switzerland. I didn't ask the question, but he was able to mention that. I don't know if you want to add something, but this is from my side what I wanted to share with you, thanking Swamiji for everything. Thank you.
So next, I'd like to invite Suniva and Mijin with the Balasant Shri Nithyananda Prakashananda.
Nithyanandam, everyone. So the day before yesterday, I was also with Yana Prakasha, and I asked a question about what's the temperature on Mars. And he said 20 degrees. And I was thinking, I don't think it's 20 degrees on Mars, but let me Google it. So I Googled it, and it said like temperatures almost to negative 200 degrees came up. But then I read further, and it said in the summer near equator, it could be 20 degrees. So I was amazed. And yesterday when we started to play with the depth dimension, I asked a question about if we could draw a famous painting called Scream from a Norwegian famous artist called Edvard Munch. And he started to draw a lady with a table. So he saw a lady with long hair beside a table. I don't know if I should show the picture, and maybe you can project if you have the picture. Oh yeah. So I was thinking that's not the photo I was thinking about, but we Googled it and we found that he actually had painted a painting with a lady by a table. And then we asked the question, like, can you draw the map from Chicago to Grand Rapids, Michigan? And he drew the map, and he got the road signs colors correct. It's blue and red, and the shape is also like the same shape.
And hello, Nithyananda. And then we decided maybe we want to maybe we want to ask him like famous monuments or famous landmarks. And so we asked him, okay, there's a city called San Francisco in California, in America, and there's a famous bridge. And naturally we thought, okay, he's gonna draw the Golden Gate Bridge. But then he drew a black bridge with ropes, and he said there's V shapes on the towers. And then we thought, okay, next question. He didn't get this right. But then I looked on my Google Images, and there's a bridge called Oakland Bay Bridge in San Francisco that he drew exactly like this. And it looks exactly the same with the V on the towers, and it's black with the ropes. Yeah, and then we moved on to the Sydney Opera House. We said, okay, there's a country called Australia, and then there's a place called an opera house in Sydney where they play music. And how does it look like? And he drew a dome. He drew a dome, which is for the sails. Yes, for the sails. And then he grabbed a purple crayon and he started coloring the inside of it. And then I thought, okay, well, that's weird. But then, so we were trying to move on to the next question, but then I was like, no, I remember the Oakland Bridge, so let me Google it. And I Googled interior of Sydney Opera House. And in the northern foyer in the Sydney Opera House, they have a carpet that's bright purple, exact same color, that leads all the way up to the stairs as well. So. Yeah, thank you, Swamiji, for giving us this opportunity to experience this amazing experience.
Yes. Actually, I should tell you this. It's a lot of research, lot of development, lot of breakthrough. Just like how I made the third eye, reading, body scanning, all that as an established science now. Very soon, in next few days, I'll establish this length and breadth as an established science without any doubts. Now what you are having is a preliminary, first initial expressions of these great demonstrators. Or I should say, who is going to be now the great demonstrators. So with this, it is time. I wanted to go and start the work. So I am back to you guys tomorrow with some more. So with this, I bless you all. Let you all radiate with integrity, authenticity, responsibility, enriching, causing, living Shuddhadvaita Saivam Sadashivoham. The eternal bliss, Nithyananda. Thank you. Be blissful.